Hello, this is Gary Simon, and in this video we're going to design the mock-up for our homepage for logodesign.co in Photoshop. And again, I can't stress this enough, hopefully you've kind of chosen your own project at this point, you have the logo done, and you'll just be able to see kind of what exactly I'm going to do for my project, but you'll have your own. So right here I'm looking at Bootstrap, and this is from Twitter, and as it states here, it's a popular front-end framework for faster and easier web development. So if you're unfamiliar with using a front-end framework, you'll understand as we progress through the series and we get into the HTML and the CSS. But I'm just on this page now because Bootstrap, if we go to scaffolding up here and scroll all the way down, we'll see that it uses a grid system. And if you're unfamiliar with what a grid system is, again, we'll get into that in more detail coming up here real shortly. But the first thing that we have to do is in Photoshop get our document prepared so that when we design the layout, it's going to adhere to these 12 column grid system that Bootstrap uses. So if this is confusing and you're new to this, which it will be confusing, don't think about it too much. But what I want to do is at this website here from Ben Stewart, we have a Twitter Bootstrap responsive grid Photoshop template. Okay, so this is just a PSD file, and if you download it, you'll get a zip file, and inside it you'll have three files basically. One for a 724, one for a 940, and another for a 1170 width. Now we're going to use the 1170 width. Basically what will happen, since we're going to use responsive, when we have the browser maximized, the layout will be basically, it'll look exactly like we're going to design it in this mock-up that we're going to start here soon. But then if we take the browser and we kind of just drag it in, it will adapt. And also the purpose of that, of course, is so that when you're viewing the website on mobile devices or tablets, it will respond automatically. All right, so we'll get more into that. So now go ahead and open up this file right here, and I'm going to open it up in my own. And I've called it pre. I'm going to move it onto the screen here. And basically, when you open it up, it's going to look exactly like this. So each of these, if I hit Control H, we'll have these guides up here as well. To get rid of them, just hit Control H. So if we take a look at this, we can hide the info column, and I'm going to fill this in with a white color. I'm going to create a new layer, Control Shift N, and just fill that in and call it background. You'll see these 12 pink columns here, and basically we want to design our layout so that it adheres to these columns, and you'll see what I mean more specifically. So what I want to do here is just go to image canvas size, and I'm going to extend the height here to something a little bit more, probably to around 15, and hit OK. And then I'm going to take both of these layers, hit Control T, and hold the Alt key and just drag up, and select the Move tool and hit Apply. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and also go to image canvas size and extend the width just a little bit to around 20 inches. And depending on what your resolution is for your desktop, you may want to make it a little larger if you're on a larger resolution, or a little bit smaller. But basically you do want to see everything in terms of width on this screen. Alright, so I'm just going to fill that in with the background color, and then I'm going to open up the logo. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and this is the logo design that I did, and I'm going to leave it at 72 pixels and hit OK. And then hit Control A and then Control C to copy, and then just Control V to paste it in. Alright, so I'm going to take my Move tool and I'm just going to move it up here, and we want it to be right there on the left of the first grid, or the first column. And now what I want to do is hit Control T, hold Shift, and scale it down just a little bit, just right around here. Select the Move tool, hit Apply. And I'm going to get rid of the columns, or hide them rather. And for this top portion, it's going to be blue. So we're going to take the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to choose a blue color. The color code is 00AFC4, and hit OK. And then just underneath this layer 1, which I will rename to logo, I'm going to drag out right around there. Okay. Then I'm going to take the logo, go to Image, Adjustments, Invert. And it's not quite 100% white, so what I can do is just go to Image, Adjustments, Exposure, turn the exposure all the way up, and now it is 100% white. Okay, so now, on this point, I want to get a navigation up, and it's just going to be very simple. And let's get the columns back up here so we can see that. And I'm going to choose white for the foreground. And I'm just going to click once and just type in Portfolio. And I'm going to increase that size quite a bit. But first I'm going to change it to a font called Source Sans Pro, and which I will link in the video here. And then I'm going to hit Control T, hold Shift, and just scale it up to right around that size. Hit Apply. And then we'll put it right around there. I may adjust that. And then we'll go ahead and select this. I put the space about 15 spaces. And then what I can do is copy that and then paste it, and paste it one more time. I'm going to have 4 links up there. And so now right off the bat, let's go ahead and change these last 2 to the appropriate names. Log in and get started. I'm going to hit Control T and just scale it down to right around there, and position them down just slightly, and hide the columns here. Now with my Move tool, if I hit Auto Select, I can just kind of reposition things here with my keyboard, and just kind of eyeball it for now. And right here in the middle, I'm going to have a headline text that's going to be pretty big. And so I'm just going to type, "We design superior logos," and then scale that up a lot. Control T, hold Shift and Alt. And I do want it to be pretty big. Now let's go ahead and view the grid here. And we just kind of want to eyeball it so that it's basically in the center. This is going to be a single 12-column grid, basically layer right here. And so it doesn't really matter. We don't have to start it right here, or really. The only thing we have to pay attention to is that we have it centered here roughly on the canvas. All right. And I'll leave it right around there. And now what I want to do is kind of get a sub-headline underneath this. So what I will do is, one moment, is right-click and duplicate the layer, or you can do it with a shortcut, Control-Shift-D. Now hit Control-T, scale it down, and in this text, I'm going to type, "Stand above your competition. Your business is worth it." Okay. And what we can do here is center it up again, which looks pretty even. And then right around here in this area, and real quickly, I'm going to hit Control-T, select this blue layer, and extend it down just a little bit further. So in this area, starting on this second column, I'm going to have a white background sort of, and you'll see what its purpose will be shortly. So what I want to do is create a clipping mask layer. So if I hit Control-Shift-N and select Use Previous Layer to create clipping mask. We'll call this Logo Background. Hit OK. And we take the rectangle tool and we select right around here and then extend it just below and end it right here at this column. What we can do is, I can position this up just a little bit more. And so, to the left and right here, we're going to have arrows, left and right arrows, okay? And what this is going to allow people to do is just kind of click these, and it will also automatically transition into showing basically some featured logos that I've designed. So, what I want to do here is create those icons from scratch. So it's pretty simple. What we'll do is go to View, Show Grid, and also make sure Snap to Grid is enabled here. So if I zoom up just right around here, take the pen tool and make sure Shape is selected with a white foreground, we can create a arrow pretty easily. And select right here. Hit Control H twice to get rid of it. Go back to 100%. All right, and then let's see here. Let me get the grid back. And it will be basically in the center of the first column. And we can duplicate this. Go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and then just move it over. And let's get rid of the columns here. And now what I want to do is add another layer, which will be a clipping mask underneath logo background, and Control-Shift-N, hit OK. And I just want this to be a darker shade of blue right here. Control-H twice. I'll get this blue, and then hopefully right around there, and then just move it up a little bit with the keyboard. The up arrows. Okay. Now what I want to do in this area, well actually one thing, I want to create a custom pattern up here just to give it a little bit of texture. And so the way we'll do that, we're going to go to File, New, and I'm going to choose a width and a height of 100. And what I'm going to do is take the pen tool here, and I'm going to select just a darker blue color, hit OK. Select down here once, hold Shift for a perfect diagonal line, and end it right around there. And then take this and hit Control Shift D to duplicate, which I can't right now because my screen recorder has that same shortcut and it ends up screwing it up, but you can certainly use that if you want. And hit Control T and just rotate it like I did, and select the Move tool, hit Apply. And if we select over here and just use the down arrow key and the up arrow key, we can experiment possibly with some different layer modes. And one thing I want to do is just take both of these, Control T, yeah, I think I'm going to flip it all the way around. You'll see how this works. It's actually pretty cool. All right, so this can be our pattern. So we go to Edit, Edit, and we go to Define Pattern, and we'll just call this Logo BG. Hit OK. Now if we go back to our mockup here, we can create a new layer just above logo background. Control-Shift-N. Let's call this BG. And this will just be a regular layer, not a clipping mask. And what we can do is go ahead and create a rectangle roughly around this size. And then we can double click on the right hand side of it and go to Pattern Overlay and select the one we just created down here. Alright, so now what we want to do, we can play around with the blend mode right here with the arrow keys and kind of just use something that we think will work here initially. And I think I'm going to use this one, and we're going to turn down the opacity a lot actually, right around to 18 with multiply selected, and then hit OK. And then what I want to do is right click, hit rasterize layer, and then also layer style. And then I want to get rid of this bottom portion right here. Hit delete. And I'm going to take the magic wand tool and set the tolerance at like 1 so we just get these bottom portions, and then hit delete. Okay, and actually, you know what? I'm going to back up a few because I noticed I accidentally cut off the very tip right there. So let me just back up a few times. So what I'll do is hit Control Z and then Alt several times. Yeah, because I definitely want that. Correct. All right, now hit delete. And take the magic wand tool again and delete that. And I'm not too satisfied with that color. It's a little bit too dark. So let me go ahead and experiment with the opacity and also the blend modes here just a little bit. I'm just using my down arrow key until I find something that I think might work. I'm going to go to Image Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. And I think that works pretty well if we turn the brightness up. We can see it, but it definitely doesn't take away from the type or anything, or the logo. Okay. For now, I may position this up slightly, right around there, and I think that works okay. Alright, so now what we want to do is put it in the example logos right here. And I've already created it, so I can go to here, and these are just 4 logos I've created to put in that space. So if I just select all and copy and put them right around here, that will be good to go. Also, I want to first go up here and change the anti-aliasing to sharp. And that way it will appear more specific to exactly how it would look in the browser instead of it being set to smooth as it was. Alright, so right now I think this is a pretty good start and a pretty good end to this portion. We're going to have actually a lot more, and this is going to be a lot taller in width, which we'll cover over the next video or two. So yeah, we're certainly going to have like a testimonials area, an area that kind of describes the service more, and a few other things in the footer. But for now, this is a good place to start, or stop rather. So I will see you in the next video. All right, goodbye.